Welcome back to another episode on the Landscaping Podcast, powered by Landscaping Unlimited. I am your host, Zachary Small, and today we are talking about how to find success in your 2 weeks at a new job. Now, this is geared towards a lot of the experiences I've had, as well as those I've seen with people working at Landscaping Unlimited. But I think a lot of these lessons can be applied to any field or any industry because the overlap of being the new guy, it's just the same everywhere. You're new, you don't know what's going on, you want to find success, you got to get your feet under you so you can start running with the team that you're being a part of or you're joining. And so the important elements that you get right, they're much less about the specific craft that you're doing and much more about just the energy that you're bringing and who it is that you are. So stay tuned, listen to this if you're looking to change careers or if you're looking to hire people on and kind of want to help them out. Because good leaders, they've got to help the new guys come on. So whether you're a team leader or you're just an experienced individual who's kind of been on the team longer than most and you're the veteran of the group, well, you can help the new guys get their feet under them quicker by applying these lessons. And so let's dive into it. If you want to find success in your first 2 weeks on a new job, there are a few things that you can get right out of the gate. One is obviously punctuality. 2, communication. So I'm going to put those together. Communicate with where you're at. Let whoever's hiring you know what questions you have, what you want to know, how to set yourself up for success, the things that you can do, prepare yourself for the position that you're taking on. And then punctuality-wise, well, in your first 2 weeks, early is on time, and that's actually the trend forever. I get everywhere early. Like, I get paranoid of being late. My only fear is to be late. I'm like your stereotypical like veteran. It's like the world's on fire. I'm fine. I'm 5 minutes late to something and I'm freaking out. And so I hate being late. If you are new to a team and you are late, you are basically showing them that that is the type of person that you are, because in your first 2 weeks, you can't get there on time. Well, once things get easier, once you're there longer, things don't tighten up usually. Usually they slide further, which means you're going to continue to be late or you're going to be later. So keep in mind, if you are starting a job, the most important thing you can do is to communicate with whoever it is on your team, who you are, what you're about, what the expectations are. Make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into and what's going to be asked of you. And make sure you're on time. Be early places. Ensure that you are there like legitimately in time or on time enough to get feedback. That way you're not walking in the door and like the wheels are already turning. You want to give yourself time to get geared up to get to know the team that you're working with. And that means being early, seeing what's going on, connecting. We had a few of the guys that we recently hired actually over the weekend do a drive-by of the shop to time their commute. And so I thought that was great because they're taking the initiative to ensure they know how much time it's going to take and they're getting there and they're early. That way they can set their alarm for the proper time of not walking in the door right when they're going to be walking out to the trucks. So communication and punctuality. If you can get those, you will crush. We have had guys work here that didn't last because they didn't know what was going on and they never asked, how could I set myself up for success? What can I do to deal with the heat that's going on? How can I win? What do I need to, who do I need to be talking to about pay issues? Who do I need to talk to about maybe getting some extra reps or some extra hours? All those things come down to speaking. And when you don't speak, you don't get tended to. Like, nobody's going to help you because they don't know you need anything. And so open up, let people know what it is you need, communicate, and you will find success. Next, your 2 weeks in the job. Be the dude who volunteers for everything. If there is work, if somebody has to stay late, you stay late. You haven't put in the time to where you should be walking out the door. You should be putting in all the time to get the extra hours to learn the job faster. That way you can get up to the level that all of your peers are at. So if you join a team at your first 2 weeks in the job, they're asking, hey, we need somebody to stay late to handle this. You will separate yourself from your peers by being the person who volunteers to stay late and take on extra work. I would always stay late. I would always ask questions. If it rained and everybody could go home, I would stay later just to be like, hey, man, let me pick your brain on the other side of the business. How do you do the paperwork? So I was a hardscape guy learning the billing side, learning the quotes, learning how we do estimates because I was asking questions. Nobody offered that to me. Shay never said, hey, come with me. I want to show you this. It was like he probably would have at some point, but I was just asking before it even got to that point. I was like, hey, man, how does this work? Why do we do it this way? What's going on here? So basically that shows as a new person that you're interested in doing more than the minimum. Because somebody's doing the minimum, they don't want to know anything else. They don't want to learn anything else. They're not volunteering for anything. They're doing the minimum. And when you're in a business and we're in a world where I was just watching a story about how a CEO of a company that would crush it, I think it was General Electric's, every year he cut the bottom 10% of performers no matter what. And so he created competition in his team. If you want to be valuable, if you don't want your name on the block when they're starting to say, hey, man, maybe we got a little too many guys, time to get rid of some bodies. Well, if you're the dude just doing the minimum, you're going to be at the bottom because the minimum is literally the bottom. It's like the least amount of accepted work. But if you're doing a little extra, if you're always volunteering, if you're trying to help, if you're asking, the other guys, if when you finish your work, you can go help them finish their work. Well, that's an asset that's going to make everybody around them better. That's the type of teammate people want on their team. And so they're not going to be getting rid of you. If anything, they'll be promoting you and you're doing whatever they have to do to keep you because they know they found somebody that's as invested in the company as they are. And so when you're new, if you're communicating properly, if you're punctual, so you're always on time, you're basically acting like a professional, treating the job as a professional. And then you're sitting there and you're volunteering and you're helping and you're doing what needs to be done to help the team win. You're going to stand out rapidly. And so if it's your first 2 weeks on a job, you got 10 days roughly. For us, you'd have 8 because we work 4 10s a week. But let's just say a Monday through Friday. You have 10 opportunities in your first 2 weeks to show who it is you are, what it is you stand for, and what you're about. Everybody loves to say, I can work outdoors. I work hard with my hands. Okay, show it. Because a lot of the people who say that and they believe that about themselves, there's a cognitive dissonance going on to where they're not actually that person. They actually don't like working outdoors. It's very hot and they struggle to keep up. They don't like working with their hands. It's very frustrating. They feel like they're too sore. Their body's breaking down. So like this story they've created to where they're the guy who works outdoors and knows how to work with their hands is completely false. And so like you've got to find out who you are and you've got to be honest. And you got to recognize the job that you're doing will come with certain demands and you must meet them. In the first 2 weeks of your job, in those first 10 days, you've got to show you've got what it takes. If you can make it past the first 2 weeks, if you can stand out in that window, well, then you're going to go and you're going to find success. Because a month in, 2 months in, if you keep doing what you're doing in those 2 weeks, well, you're just going to do it more and better. You're still going to help out where needed. You're still going to make the team around you better. You're still going to communicate whenever there's an issue. You're still going to be punctual. You're not going to be the guy who's late. That's who succeeds in every work industry I can think of. And it's not a surprise that those who do these things rise up in the ranks quickly. Whether it's the military, whether it's the private sector, public sector, it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, even on a football team, any athletic team, the person who's showing up before everybody else, the person who's working hard, the person who's sharing what they need and willing to meet the needs that is asked of them, they find success. Those who do the minimum are left behind because, again, that is the lowest bar you could set. The minimum is just like existing. It's like what you need to do to literally have the job. That's the minimum. You want to do more than that. You want to stand out. So if you're looking to crush your 2 weeks, be on time, communicate, volunteer to help, ask questions about things, and then go and apply it. And take initiative. That's another one that should be included in this. If you see something, fix it. If I walk into our shop and I see the trash cans full, okay, time to take the trash out. Nobody needs to ask me that. I'll take the initiative to help my team because I know it needs to be done. And let's say I've got the time to do it at that moment. It's not somebody else's job. And one of the things that I was talking to our guys about today is that nobody on this team, nobody who's wearing our jersey, or I call it jersey, but it's our logo, of Landscaping Limited, is trying to make everybody else work harder. There are individuals who would see what they could get away with. They're gone. You weed those guys out. You find the guys who want to work hard, just do their job. And they come to work, they work hard, and then they go home. Work stays at work. They go home knowing they put in the honest day. They built something. They provided the service to their community, and they win. Those guys who take initiative and they can do all the other things that I said, they're just an asset to the company that are going to find themselves doing quite well. You're going to find financial incentives. You're going to find position incentives. And you're going to be able to just feel good about who you are. And you're going to be accepted in your group. And so when you go to your job and you're accepted by your team because everybody knows you bust your ass for them, well, then you're going to be feeling good while at work instead of feeling like the lonely island or the man who's ostracized. Like you don't fit in if you don't help the guys because eventually they're going to see like you're in it for you. You're in it for me and not we. You're in it for yourself and not the team. And so that's just human nature. And so again, to find that success in your first 2 weeks, go knock all those things out and you will crush. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be the best at everything. If you can get those things right, taking initiative, communicating, being punctual, asking questions, staying late, volunteering, if you can do those things in any industry, you're going to find success. You're going to make a good first impression. You're going to find opportunities provided to you. And then you're just going to go and you're going to have more doors open for you to kind of choose what your career looks like. The guys who do the minimum, they're going to dip, dodge, duck, dive. They're going to follow all the dodgeball rules to stay out of the spotlight, to not be noticed. And they're also going to be the first ones who are like, hey, we got to get rid of somebody. Well, let's get rid of the person who's not bringing any extra value than anybody else could who would do the minimum. Don't be that guy. Set yourself up for a strong 2 weeks. I look forward to hearing how you guys are going out and doing that. If you have any questions or if you need some advice on how to navigate this, let me know. I love talking about it, so reach out. Landscaping Unlimited, podcast. This is another one down. It was great talking to you guys.